Record-setting temperatures this week.
And remember, heat is the #1 weather-related killer.
Fighting the flames. A wildfire forces more than 1,000 people out of their Southern California homes.
Rapidly grew, spreading thousands of acres within 24 hours.
Why a wet spring did not end drought concerns in Central Texas.
Evaporation rates in our area use as much water as the city of Boston.
And the simple answer to that age-old question, why is the sky blue?
Because of the way the sunlight interacts with the molecules in our atmosphere.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Could we soon see the first named storm of the hurricane season? This morning, we're watching two areas, one along the southeast coast of the U.S., the other close to Mexico. Meteorologist Lauren Oleski is tracking the tropics for us this morning.
Let's talk about the one on the Gulf of Mexico. Low pressure expected to develop here later today. And then we're going to see this moving off towards the north-northwest, bringing heavy rain across Mexico and Texas there. Not a concern for us, but this could become maybe a depression or named storm by the end of this week. Then an area of low pressure is expected to develop and move west, closer to the eastern United States. Now, the development chance right now is low, 30%. As of now, with this little lima bean shape, this would be curving north, not impacting us directly. But we could still see a lot of moisture moving in our direction. So regardless of development, not even all the models even have this turning into anything, there's moisture coming this way, so the rain chance is going to increase for us towards the end of the week. Our name list for the year, the season began June 1st. We haven't seen any named storms yet.
And strong to severe thunderstorms are the big threat today in the northern plains. The greatest risk is in South Dakota, Nebraska, Minnesota, including the Twin Cities. A slightly lower threat stretches from eastern Montana to Michigan's Upper Peninsula and south to Texas. The heat dome that we have been talking about for about a week, well, that's now moving east. By the end of the week, we could be talking about all-time high temperatures in many cities and even triple digits in Maine and also Canada. 72 million Americans are already under a heat alert today, and things could intensify tomorrow. The National Weather Service calls it a prolonged period of heat conditions with intense heat and high humidity. Meteorologist Jordan Evans explains what this heat dome is all about.
A heat dome is expanding across much of the United States, and many areas are going to experience above average temperatures. What exactly is a heat dome? That is an upper level ridge of high pressure that causes sinking air. And when air sinks, it heats up, it dries out, and it can't escape. That dome prevents that hot air from escaping and cooling off. High pressure also means less in the way of cloud cover and a lot more sunshine. So temperatures are climbing. Impacts from the heat dome can be an increased risk of heat-related illness. That means a higher risk of heat stroke. And remember, heat is the #1 weather-related killer, more than tornadoes, hurricanes, and floods every year. Heat domes can also put stress on the power grid, resulting in power outages and causing drought to accelerate, which means higher chances of wildfires and water shortages. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans.
A large wildfire burning near Los Angeles, California, has already burned nearly 15,000 acres, according to CAL FIRE. As of Sunday afternoon, though, officials said that the fire was only 2% contained. The post-fire has forced several evacuations and closed portions of Interstate 5. Sophia Lesios has more.
California's wildfire season is off to an aggressive start. Saturday afternoon, a fire sparked just north of Los Angeles in Gorman. This fire, dubbed the Post Fire, rapidly grew, spreading thousands of acres within 24 hours. A woman who was camping in the area said she didn't think much of it until it was the point where they needed to get out and go.
We saw the smoke coming up, but it wasn't that bad yet. And then, eventually we're like, we don't think it's safe. It might be fine, but, 5% chance it might not be fine. And then it became like a 10, 20% chance. And then eventually the sheriff was just like, you guys got to go. And
firefighters have been working tirelessly, having many entities, including CAL FIRE, Los Angeles County Fire Department, and the U.S. Forest Service battling it out. But the reason this fire has been spreading so quickly is because of low humidity and the wind.
We're going to have gusts as high as 60 miles per hour, but that would not be a constant. Mostly, we're going to say an average of about 24 mile per hour winds.
The rugged terrain also hasn't been helping. Smoke can be seen from miles away, with this picture taken off of the Bald Mountain Tower near Sandburg, and this video taken from the Grapevine.
That's a monster fire.
CAL FIRE says at least 2 structures have been damaged, and 1,200 people have already been evacuated from Hungry Valley Park. Evacuation orders have also been placed for Gorman and Pyramid Lake. Fire officials are asking everyone in the area to have things ready in case you need to leave.
Despite a wet spring, the two reservoirs that supply water to Austin and much of central Texas are still far from full. Meteorologist Chicago Windler looks at how summer could bring major uncertainty to that region.
Lake Travis is up 4.5 feet since the beginning of May, but it's still only 42% full. And as we head into another hot summer, the biggest draw on our water supply can't be controlled.
It's evaporation. So our largest water user in the entirety of the Colorado River system is the sun and the wind.
John Hoffman is the executive vice president for water of the Lower Colorado River Authority.
Evaporation rates in our area use as much water as the city of Austin.
Right now, the lake is losing about an inch every 5 or 6 days, and that increases the hotter and windier it gets.
And water's, without air, it's the most important thing, so water's life, we need it.
Jeff Doran has gotten used to the empty boat ramp.
I hate to say it, but I kind of like it without the boats, and peace and quiet's kind of nice.
Upriver in the hill country, the Lake Buchanan watershed saw more rain and a bigger boost. It's at 74%.
From the rains that we received in May and early June, it's up 14 feet.
For now, the LCRA is using more water from Lake Buchanan than Lake Travis to meet the water needs of more than 1 million Central Texans.
From a hydrology standpoint, we're still very much in drought.
The summer outlook is for warmer than average temperatures and near average rain as El Nino has ended and La Nina is expected to develop.
Maybe not as hot as it was last summer. A lot of days that are going to be maybe over 100 degrees, maybe just under 100 degrees.
The wild card is the tropics. We're heading into La Nina with record warm ocean temps and low wind shear, which should lead to an active hurricane season. We're already tracking tropical moisture heading for Central Texas. And if too much water comes too fast, the LCRA is prepared. I got a rare tour inside Mansfield Dam where floodgates haven't been opened since 2019.
This motor will rotate this gear and the gate basically rises up out of the hole and we start passing water.
And in a land known for its alternating periods of flood and drought, there is something you can control.
What you can't control is your discretionary water use. Continue to focus on the need for conservation measures as we go into the summertime. Conservation needs to be a way of life.
At Lake Travis in Austin, Texas, I'm Chicago Windler for the National Weather Desk.
Well, tomorrow marks the end of Maryland's Fleet Week in Baltimore. For many, the highlight of the event was a series of aircraft flyovers. Meteorologist Amy Aronson reports on what the weather conditions were like and what weather is best for the different aircraft that took part in the show.
Meteorologist Amy Aronson here at Martin State Airport in Middle River, Maryland, where Fleet Week was a huge success thanks to the weather.
Clear. We don't have much of heat advection coming up, right, because that creates turbulence. No rain, no scattered showers. The forecast doesn't have any low ceilings, right? The low ceilings would scrub some of the flights, push us down even further.
But of course, the weather isn't always this perfect.
Worst flying conditions, right? There's heavy winds, whether it's headwinds or crosswinds. That's going to affect the demonstrations that these guys are prepared to do, right?
And very bad weather would actually ground all these planes.
Just heavy thunderstorms, that would stop us from being able to participate in the flyover aspect for Fleet Week.
At Martin State Airport in Middle River, Maryland, I'm meteorologist Amy Aronson. Happy flying.
And check out this video of a bear behaving badly in California. The bear broke into 4 homes and 1 garage in search of food. Apparently, it bars through one screen door, opened the freezer, and stole a pack of chicken. Police showed up and fired some pepper balls. They also sounded a horn in an effort to kind of scare it back into the woods. Startled, the bear dropped the stolen goods. There were no reports of injuries, and the bear was not hurt. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, sharks dominate headlines when it comes to marine risks at the beach, but there are other animals that are also dangerous and much more common. And we'll share tips on how to best use mulch in your summer gardens.
I'm meteorologist Emily Santa, and let's look at the highs for the Northeast for today. A wide range of temperatures. We're in the low 70s up in northern Maine. As we head over to western and central New York, 92 degrees in Syracuse for our high today, 82 down in Boston, 89 over in Albany. We're looking at some clouds, more so in Maine, parts of Vermont and New Hampshire. Mostly cloudy day towards the 1 o'clock hour for today. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s. So wet weather moving through western New York, and we'll head down to Pennsylvania towards the evening.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Bailey. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. We will stay pretty much dry, only a stray shower, if that, as we move through tomorrow. But I wouldn't expect much rainfall at all, really, this week. We are just going to be heating up, and it is going to start scorching us by the middle of this week. By Monday here, we're only talking afternoon temperatures in the 90s. And as we move through to your Tuesday, it is still going to be pretty hot. Low 90s. We could be talking about upper 90s by the end of this week.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Readers. A look at your southeast forecast highs for the day. A hot one across the southeast, looking at 92 degrees in Atlanta, Mobile 86 degrees, Raleigh 91 degrees, 90 Jacksonville, Tampa right around 93 degrees. It looks like we're seeing a mixture of sun and clouds across the area. Keep an eye on the Gulf. There is a tropical system that may affect South Texas and parts of Mexico border, but there's going to be bringing in some moisture across parts of Louisiana into the Mississippi Delta. Sun and clouds across Florida, a few showers up around Atlanta.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
This time-lapse video shows recent storms roll through downtown Springfield, Illinois. Things got dark enough to obscure the State House dome at times. The same storm also left behind some interesting sights like lightning bolts, rainbows, and fiery skies. Elsewhere, this image of a shelf cloud was captured over Bristol, Rhode Island.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Talk a lot about ways to beat the heat, but one of the most obvious is just staying hydrated. However, a lot of people do not realize just how much water they need when temperatures hit those triple digits. Meteorologist Jeff Exline posted about it on Twitter.
Beat the heat this summer by staying hydrated. You know that more than half, 60% of your body is comprised of water. So it's important to replenish your body with water during the hot summer months. Now, the CDC recommends that you drink a cup of water every 15 to 20 minutes, especially if you're exercising outdoors or working outdoors. And that equates to almost a quart of water every hour. So, you know, if you're normal day, 6 to 8 glasses of water. But if you're spending a lot of time outdoors in the summertime, especially when it's hot, increase that to 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. And if you don't like water, you can get water from other ways by eating a lot of your fruits and vegetables. A good fruit, of course, would be watermelon. And if you are sort of tired of the boring taste or lack of taste of water, you could also add some flavoring packets to your water to give it a little bit of flavor. Also use common sense by exercising early in the day, in the morning, or in the evening when it's not quite as hot.
Why is the temperature of air different than nearby bodies of water? Meteorologist Chris Suchan explains.
Perhaps you've noticed the difference between air temperature and the temperature of water, whether it's a lake or maybe it's your backyard swimming pool. It's all a matter of heat capacity. I'm meteorologist Chris Uchan to explain what's happening. Heat capacity is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of a substance by 1 degree. And of course, with air has a low heat capacity, it's quick to heat up. It's also very much quick to cool down at night. You introduce a little humidity into the air, and that does lower the efficiency of heating and cooling at night as it's holding a little bit of water. Meantime, water has a very high heat capacity, takes longer to heat up and cool down. So when you start at a temperature of 60 degrees, you can see here on the line graph, heating up quickly with the air temperature. Water is much more subdued on the increase, but then it holds its heat better at night, while the land, of course, and the air cool quickly as that sun sets here. That is the heat capacity and the impact on air versus water.
When it's hot, sunscreen is a must if you want to enjoy the pool. And as meteorologist Arena Plunkett reports, swimming pools also need protection from the sun.
While the official start of summer isn't until June 20th, things are heating up by the pool. And no, I'm not talking about all the new eye candy.
Oh, yeah.
In true Reno fashion, the perfect day at the pool isn't complete without sun, sunscreen, and a drink. But it got me to thinking, how does the weather affect the water?
So, I took a deep dive and found Miguel Macias. He's been a pool professional for over 8 years. He says the challenges of treating pools differ based on which region you're in.
Those on the West Coast generally live in a drier climate, so they lose about an inch of water a week due to evaporation.
If you're wondering what that means in terms of sanitation, think more chemicals and water.
Really, the sun is what's going to affect your pool the most, because the UV rays of the sun are going to affect the strength of your chlorine. They're going to eat it up if you don't have something protecting that chlorine.
Macia says that's why pool professionals constantly check the UV index.
Pure chlorine in the water under the UV rays will deplete in about an hour. Whereas when we add a certain amount of sunblock, the chlorine can remain active 3 to 10 times longer.
So before you hit the pool, make sure you check the UV. Reporting poolside in Reno, Arena Plunkett.
And heading to swim the water at the beach is a common way to cool down when temperatures soar. There has been a lot of talk about sharks in the water recently, but as meteorologist Grant Carlton shows us, there are many other types of marine life you need to keep your eye on.
Though it's rare, this is the time of the year where we start to hear of some shark incidents and attacks because the waters are warming up and more people are heading to the beach. And while it's important to respect these creatures and know a little bit more about them, there's some other marine life that you should know of if you're heading to the beach. Number one on our list is jellyfish. And over 1 million stings a year happen in the United States alone from jellyfish. While it's very rare for any of them to be fatal, they can certainly ruin a week at the beach. Number two, despite their name, stingrays are very docile creatures and they rarely attack unless they're provoked. That usually happens if you accidentally step on one of them. And same goes for number three, sea urchins. If you were to get stung by a stingray or step on a sea urchin, it's not necessarily fatal, but it's very important to seek medical help to prevent any further infection of that wound or to protect yourself from that venom as well. So each marine life brings their own separate dangers. A general rule of thumb is just swim near a lifeguard to protect yourself. Observe those flags and signs to know if there are dangerous marine life potentially in the water. And don't touch any dead or unfamiliar marine life that washes up ashore. They can still be dangerous even weeks after they pass away. For more information and for a full list of how to protect yourself when going to the beach, you can visit oceanservice.noaa.gov/hazards.
Well, if summer for you is less about pools and beaches and more about getting out in the garden, we have some great tips when it comes to mulch. Meteorologist Ryan Munn digs into different types and the benefits they can provide.
Placing mulch down in any garden will instantly make it catch the eye of just about anybody. But first, it's important to know just how much you need.
With a brand new bed, you usually put 4 inches down. For established beds, you'll put 1 to 2 inches kind of to freshen the mulch each year.
You'll want to make sure your garden bed is clean beforehand.
It's really important that you clean your weeds out before you mulch the best you can. Putting a nice layer down will help suppress them, but they will grow up through the mulch eventually. So really, when you're talking weeds, it's very important to kind of be diligent about your gardens.
And maintaining the mulch will bring along some big benefits.
Certainly moisture retention is probably the biggest one. Secondly, aesthetics. A different color or a different, texture, to your garden, and it gives a really nice, clean look.
Tom says a light and fluffy mulch will act as a sponge for water collection, but there are all different types.
What we call our dark bark, which is a nice dark chocolate brown. Then we have a feeding mulch, which is a mulch that's mixed with compost to kind of enrich your soil if you have poor soil. And then we have one called pine fines. Pine fines is a little bit more higher quality.
Many of these types of mulch you can also buy in different colors as well.
And before a short break, let's take flight over Folly Beach in South Carolina.
Well, a very good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. It is going to be hot across most of the Midwest over the next several days here, including some thunderstorms firing up for us here for your Monday. As we continue on into your Tuesdays, more isolated thunderstorms popping up across the Midwest, and most of the Midwest dealing with highs in the 90s, even up to Green Bay, 90 degrees for you. A little cooler in the Dakotas with highs in the 70s, especially by Wednesday, but a lot of 90s across the Ohio Valley.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look at our forecast across the region, and we're watching some tropical moisture starting to work its way on in to the coastlines of southeast Texas and Louisiana through your Monday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms from New Orleans to Corpus Christi. Can't rule out a stray severe storm across West Texas. That's a marginal risk of severe weather, level 1 of 5. As you get towards your Tuesday, more tropical moisture moving in and staying rainy much of this upcoming week from Corpus to San Antonio to Houston and New Orleans.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. Temperatures in the Pacific Northwest have been about 15 degrees below normal, while we have excessive heat and triple-digit heat across parts of Southern California and into Arizona and New Mexico. The weather maker has been bringing in that cool, showery weather to the Pacific Northwest, and now mountain snow for the Rockies so late in the season, whereas it's fire weather danger from wind and heat farther to the southwest. That's the scene from here.
The National Weather Desk.
Well, have you ever heard or asked the question, why is the sky blue? We have an answer for you. Let's check out a recent Instagram post from meteorologist Lindsay Storrs.
Have you ever asked the question or been asked the question, why is the sky blue? That's what I want to explain to you today. The sky is blue because of the way the sunlight interacts with the molecules in our atmosphere. Now, sunlight is a bright white light, but you can actually break it down into all the colors of the rainbow. So once that sunlight gets within about 16 miles of the surface of the Earth, it starts to interact with the molecules that make up our atmosphere. Now, the molecules in our atmosphere are just the right size to scatter the blue light. The rest of the colors of the rainbow make it down to the surface, but that blue light gets scattered by the molecules in the atmosphere, and it gets scattered throughout the atmosphere. So no matter where you look, you're looking at blue sky, and that is the reason that the sky is blue.
And if you're looking for more great weather content, be sure to check us out on social media. You can find us on all your favorite platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Monday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.